Can we just talk about how my life is like literally me always running late to everything I do? It is 6:45 and I have to be parking brake engaged. It is 6:45 and I literally have to be at our marriage counseling session in 15 minutes, and I'm probably a good 25 minutes away. But I have a bunch of errands to run. I like made this whole, I'm trying to make this like area where I can do my YouNow stream, and so I went and I wanted to buy a mural because it's a cement wall behind me, and I wanted to make it look real nice, and I didn't get to that. I bought this stuff. I bought these cinnamon pine cones so it would smell real good down there, and I bought this like wood mural to go behind me so it looks like a log cabin. I thought it looked very much like me. Tanya was like, get an ocean scene or something. I was like, no, I don't want to do all that. So I got this wood paneling for behind me, and it's not true, it's like paper, you know, it's like for a classroom. If it looks corny, I'll just take it back. I'll just take it down. I'll get something else. But anyway, but I thought that was kind of fun. Plus, it'll keep me down there to like clean out the basement when I'm done. So I'm gonna start doing that tonight, live streaming. Then I made my videos, and I took a shower, and been busy today. Been like running around all day today. My friend just texted me, and she's like, I started watching Jane the Virgin because of you. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't even watch Jane the Virgin anymore. So anyway, that's kind of what I'm up to today. And then Alex and I are going to get food afterwards and bring it home and try to catch up on some American Horror Stories. So yeah, that's about my day so far. It's been a good day. I wanted to kind of like vlog more throughout the day instead of just at the end. And I do want to talk later about this, but I did a whole video on my so-called Healthy Life channel, so you should go check it out, about how that channel is changing between December 1st and January 1st. It will be completely, basically like a memoir channel, stories of my life that I'll be pulling from my old blogs that I wrote on, and other stories, and it will be kind of very much like the direction that I would like my writing to go into, more memoirs. So please go check it out, that video. I think it's called Stories of My Life, The Big Change, is what I titled it. And yeah, and I'm really excited. It seems like so natural if that's what that channel is supposed to happen. And like, I'm really teasing the idea of changing the name of that channel, but I think I'm gonna change the name to Peterisms, because that was the name of one of my blogs, was Peterisms. So what do you think about that? So then I'll have Peter Monn, Peter Vlogs, and Peterisms. I don't know. I don't have all the answers. I'm just trying to get by. All right, you guys, I will talk to you later tonight, okay? I have 20 minutes left of my book to finish to my audiobook. I'm so excited. It's so good. It's at the very end, and it's so good. My Best Friend's Exorcism. If you want a book that is really kind of out there, but very different and very good, and you like that whole kind of like exorcism story, possession story, it is so good, but it is so pop culture wise. Like, it makes all these references to like when I was in high school, like the late 80s. It is so fantastic. I cannot believe I haven't heard more about it. And I don't think it gets really great reviews, which is so funny to me because I think it's really good. So, all right, you guys, I'm gonna get off here and I will talk to you later. Love ya. Hello. Okay, well, I just finished my best friend's exorcism. I gave it 5 stars. Like, it was really, really... It was so different than what I thought it would be, and I thought it was so creative and ingenious. It was really good. I don't really know what to say about it. I don't really know what I want to say about it. It really had me teared up at the end. It was very emotional too, and very true to life. Like, it was strange because it was very just true to how like time changes things with friends that you've known like your whole life, you know? The pop cultural references were like perfection. I felt like the story that was like the background story to it, that was about this possession of this girl, was, I mean, so well done. It just was really a superb book. I just was so impressed with it. So anyway, I do not know what I'm going to pick next. I have like 40 books to pick from that I've downloaded on my Audible, so I don't know what I'm going to pick. Oh my Lord. Okay, so let's see. What did I do for the rest of the day? So we went to marriage counseling. We had a great session. Then we both went to Fresh Time, and he got stuff to make a salad, and I got like hummus, and I ended up getting those. I wish I hadn't gotten them, but they're like one of my favorite things are those pretzels with peanut butter in them, and they're so like fattening, and they're so like, they just make me feel full, and I still like, I didn't even eat that many of them, and I'm just like, ugh, I feel so full right now. And Alex's friend that he works for, it's her birthday, or it was her birthday, and so I'm supposed to go out to dinner with them tomorrow night. It's just like always just like one food event after another. We're supposed to go to this new restaurant, I think it's called Provision or something, or it's supposed to be very cool. It's right by our house. It's like in this new like ironworks building. That has a lot of like restaurants, and it has like this boutique hotel in it called the Ironworks Hotel, and it's really close to where we live. So anyway, I'm excited about that for tomorrow night. It was interesting. I want to say this about the comments on my video from the Lady Gaga concert. You know, it's I'm starting to understand why like a lot of these YouTubers are fake in their vlogs, because I'm starting to understand it a little bit. But I wanted to say this because Alex got some negative comments on the video, which is whatever. I mean, it's anybody's observation. And they were like consistently the comments that he always gets. Like, did you notice that he rolled his eyes at Peter? Yes, my husband rolls his eyes at me, and sometimes I roll my eyes at him, and that's marriage. If you've ever been married, I'm sure you've rolled your eyes at your husband or wife before. And you know, I think that people are either so protective of me or so wanting to believe in something that they have fixated in their heads that like that's why they see that. You're gonna see what you want to see. That's just what I'll say, you know. And it's like Melissa got a lot of negative comments as well again, and I'm not gonna ask for people not to put those comments. I'm not gonna ask explain them away. They just are what they are, and they're my friendships and my relationships, and I love my husband and I love my friend Melissa, and I don't have any issues with anything that they do. But what was really funny to me was the several comments that I got where people were like, I'm surprised by the comment. They would say, I'm surprised that Alex is getting these comments in the video, right? And I'm not, and I'll tell you why. If you go and you don't see what I see, which is comments across 4 channels, and there are a few people that consistently leave me negative comments on all 4 of my channels. So when names come up, I'm not surprised, if that makes sense. So I'm not really sure that these are, I don't really know why they watch my content, honestly. But they very closely critique everything that I say and do, and it's a form of, I think, hate watching. So, you know, you're gonna see what you want to see with anything, I think, and you're gonna, I think any person out there is gonna read into it. It's like, you know, I can talk about going to marriage counseling, and some people, and I can say, like, it's really, really helped our marriage, and some people are going to look at that and they're going to go, oh, wow, like, that's great that Peter and Alex are going to, you know, marriage counseling, it's really helping their marriage, and that's awesome, and, you know, and a lot of that's based on what your feelings are already about counseling. a lot of that would have to do with where you are in your marriage, or a relationship, or where you were in your past, and a lot of that might have something to do with, you know, wishing that you could go, or, you know, whatever the reasons are. But then there are going to be other people that are going to go, well, why are they going to counseling? There's obviously something that Peter's not saying, and, you know, like I've gotten that comment, you know, like, well, what are you not saying that you need to go to counseling for? If that were the case, why would I not say it? I say everything else on my channel, you know? And so people are going to see what they want to see. So I'm just going to make a deal with you guys. I'm going to post unedited about my husband, about Melissa, about Tanya, about my life, about my writing, about my sobriety, about our marriage, about whatever, because that's what I want to do. I want to have a video diary, and feel free to leave whatever comments you guys need to leave. And, you know, and whatever you see is what you see, you know, and that's just where we'll go from here, because I'm not going to ask people not to comment whatever they feel necessary to comment or what they see. That's their observation, and I put my world out there to be critiqued, so I understand that. I also critique other YouTubers, so it wouldn't be fair for me to ask people not to critique what they see in my videos. It's interesting, I will say that a lot of times, some of the comments that I get, and I will say it's never the comments that you think that kind of make me go, those things that make you go, It's never the comments that you would think, you know, like, like, it's interesting to me, like, when like somebody the other day questioned something about my sobriety, and I was like, really? Like, do you really think that I would, like, put everything out there about my life and my sobriety and going to meetings, and my friend Tanya has been in the car, we've talked about sobriety together, you know, I would put all that out there for it to be fake? Like, seriously, I mean, that would be pretty easy to track down, wouldn't it? Like, if you wanted to catch me, you know, like drinking or using drugs, like that would be, if that was a regular part of my life, wouldn't that be pretty easy? I mean, why would I ever mention sobriety to begin with? Like, what would be the point of that? You know what I mean? So it's always interesting to me, like, those kind of comments, like those comments that people see, the comments where people see something that is totally not there, and I'm like, where are they seeing that? Like, what did I put out there that they're seeing that? You know what I mean? And that's where it's tough, as I think, especially a vlogger, where it's just all completely random. And, you know, I have to say, like, before I put the video up about our trip to Lady Gaga, like, I didn't remember a lot of the conversation that I filmed. And so, like, a lot of times if I'm talking, I'll, like, think back, and it usually happens when I'm coming up with whatever I'm going to title the video. I'll, like, go, okay, now what did I talk about last night? Oh, yes, I talked about, you know, like, these stories with my mom and whatever, blah, blah, blah. But, like, I honestly could not remember a lot of what, like, we talked about there, and down and back and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, you know, I don't know, was something said that will come across, you know, inappropriate or something like that? And I'm like, fuck it, I don't know. And the other thing was, I had just talked about this the night before, you know, with Alex's sense of humor, and everybody was so supportive. Everybody was like, we love his sense of humor, we love that he's, you know, sexual. So then to the very next night, get comments where people are like, his sexual humor is uncalled for. I'm like, okay, this is a little contrived. I just said this on the video the night before, so if you watch my vlog regularly, to literally come to the very next video where Alex is in it and make a comment about his sexual joking, like, that's an issue that person has with me and my whole gig. It's not an issue that they have with that or whatever. And the reality is that is my husband's sense of humor, and I'm not going to apologize for it. And if you enjoy my channel, you're going to enjoy some things and probably not others, you know? I mean, we all enjoy separate things about things. So like I said, going forward, I'm gonna do me, and for those of you that want to watch it, hey, watch it. I'm not gonna beg, and I'm not gonna change myself or ask the people around me to change either. And, you know, I said from the very get-go doing this that I didn't really respect those YouTubers that get on camera and are like, hey, how are you? Oh my God, like, we're so happy together. Okay, now, you're not gonna see my boyfriend for 2 months, and the reason that you're not gonna see him is because we're planning this extensive move, blah, 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 whatever, and then 2 months later, they've never addressed the move. Or, you know, like, I know that John hasn't been in a lot of videos lately, and blah, 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 whatever, and it's like, you go and you read the comments, and people are like, relationship goals, and I'm sitting there watching it going, they're not even together anymore, can't you tell? And, you know, like, I'm not gonna do that, which is why the other night when we got into the argument about vlogging, that I wanted to talk about it on my channel because I wanted to be fucking real. I think it's important, you know? And I was so happy. I got this one comment. I can't remember actually if it was a message on Twitter or if it was a comment, and somebody was like, thank you so much for sharing that you and Alex got into a fight. No YouTube couples ever show that they get into a fight. Really? What couple do you know that doesn't argue ever? Like, very rarely do I run into that couple that says, like, we don't ever argue. And I will say, like, Alex and I, like, our first 2 years, we argued a lot. We argued more than was necessary. We don't really argue a whole lot now, and if we do, it's over petty shit, and we, like, talk through it. But we don't argue as much as we did. But I still think that a certain amount of arguing is normal, you know? And, like, my best friend loves her husband. I mean, she will get in the car some nights and she will say, you know, after 30 years, my husband is still the sexiest man on the face of the earth to me. You know what I mean? And, like, he could do no wrong. Other nights, she gets in the car and she's like, I cleaned that house from top to bottom, from 10 to 2. And he came home, and I swear to God, within 20 minutes, the place is like a pigsty. I want to get my own apartment that I can go to and watch my TV shows at night and come home and just go to sleep with my husband. You know, like, all of that is very normal to me. It's very Roseanne kind of life. And I think it's most of the couples that I know that we all, like, I think to some degree, bitch and moan about I mean, it's not marital bliss 24 hours a day. I don't know who lives in that kind of world. But anyway, apparently these YouTubers that have perfect relationships on film so that they can stay together and continue to make all of the money and get the comments that say, relationship goals. My husband and I have been together 9.5 years. We're doing okay. Like, I'm very proud of that, you know? And in the time that we've been together, we've known, so we were talking about this the other day. Well, actually, I was talking to Alex's mom about this. It's like, we have known so many couples. Like, I really, to be honest with you, when I got together with Alex, I did not think that, if you had told me that you guys will still be together 9.5 years from now, I would have said, that's not my plan. Like, I don't want to be tied down. I don't want to be this. I don't want to be that, you know, whatever. And Alex definitely didn't. And so it's interesting now that we're sitting, you know, there, and we're sitting in a counseling office talking about that we want to be that couple when we're 80, you know, that, like, is still being passionate with each other and has this, you know, amazing relationship. And what do we need to do to get there, you know, like, so that we stay there until we're 80, not just that we become friends and we become comfortable with each other. And that's what's happened in every one of my other relationships that I've been in. We just got really comfortable over time and became roommates, and I just don't want that to happen to me and my husband. You know, I want to keep the intimacy alive and the passion alive, and that's important, you know, I think. And I don't know, it makes me sad when I watch these YouTubers, and if I could give them any advice, I'd say, when you start faking it for the camera, then you're buying into that there's something wrong, and then you're, I think, faking it for a standard, if that makes sense. And I'm not willing to do that. My relationship is what it is. I'm very proud of my relationship. I'm very proud of my husband. If he feels the need that he needs to roll his eyes at me or make some sort of sexual joke or whatever, that's okay. He's my husband. And I love my husband. And I know my husband loves me. So, you know, he's going to continue to be in videos. He's going to be in a lot more starting in January. And y'all get to see, I guess, what a real relationship's all about. So I'm excited about that, you know? I think it's important for people to see, like, that for me is very much what is so relatable about the Roseanne TV shows, you know? Is like, because it is very real, I think, you know? And I think real knows real. And I don't want people that watch my videos to sit at home and think that their marriage or their relationship is less than because it doesn't measure up to something that they see on YouTube that's contrived anyway, you know? And I'm not saying, I just think that every relationship is different. Now, there are some relationships on YouTube that I adore watching, you know? And there are others I watch for the entertainment factor, and that's all I'll say. You can't do this for too long without knowing, like, who are the fake couples, honestly. So anyway, that being said, I had this epiphany today. What time am I at on here? I've talked for 16 minutes about all that. I had this epiphany today when I sat down and I did my so-called healthy life video, because it was me just talking to the camera. Well, let me tell you what happened, the short version of it, then you guys can go watch that video. Was that I talked and told some stories on here the other day, and on the video, like, I'm still that kid. And Tony reached out to me and said, like, this is the book that you should write. And I don't know what happened in that moment that I read his message to me, but it was like this, woo, it was like this blaring sign in front of me that I was like, why did you not see this earlier, you know? And so I went home that night, and I was like, as I was laying in bed, I just was like, it was like one story after another from when I was growing up that I was like writing down in my notes underneath this note to start this is the book I want to start. And then I thought, you know, like, I think that's the channel that I want to do. I want to have it be all of these, like, aha moment learning experience like story times that I've had over time. And I cannot tell you guys, like, how excited I got about it. Like, it really, I don't even know what to say. Like, it feels very right for me with the world that is what I'm supposed to do with that channel. Like, I don't even, in my heart of hearts, I don't even question it at all. And then what was interesting was I went to the comments and people were like, I know, but I kind of like it messy. I know, but I kind of like it all over the place. And I'm like, like, see, it's not the fact that, like, the like, comments on videos start making me, like, question things. Like, that's the problem, okay? Is that there can be no truth in something, and then a comment can, like, intercede like a worm in your brain, and it can be like, okay, and then you can, do you know what I mean? It's like, well, is there something there? Is there some truth to that? Blah, 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 whatever, right? And so, it's like almost all of the YouTubers I talk to whenever I bring this up will say to me, don't read the comments. Don't go to the gossip sites and don't read the comments, because it's, you know, like, it'll just distract you from what you're doing. But I like to read the comments. I like to, you know, I read all the comments that I get. But that being said, because then I was like, well, I guess I could do some story times and do some weight loss stuff, and I just don't enjoy it being that way, to be really honest with you guys. It's just not fun for me, because I'm somebody that, like, I kind of want to know what something is, and I feel very driven to turn it into this story time thing. And I think it's gonna be really cool. I'm starting to take all of the blogs that I used to write and print them out and turn them into what I'm going to talk about as far as story times on there. And I miss writing on my blog, so it'll be a way for me to kind of share those stories at length that I share on here sometimes. But somebody asked on here, and I thought this was actually a good question. They said, well, what will differ from your vlog? Like, you won't have anything to talk about. I have lots to talk about. What will differ? Well, what differs on here is that, like, whatever I'm just kind of thinking of at the moment is where my mind goes, and it's what I talk about. Whereas on there, it will be like very specific topics, if that makes sense. Like, not topics, but I mean, like, each one will be a separate story time. So, like, when you go to my main channel and you, like, go to the Pink Tutu story time, or, you know, you go to, like, the camping story time, or, like, the casino story time, it'll be like that. It'll be, like, one story time, but there will be, like, a lesson that I've learned attached to it. So, it will be like when I do that on here, but on here, it's just kind of so random and all over the place. It'll be a little bit more of, like, I mean, it'll still just be me, like, ad-libbing off the top of my head, but it will be a little bit more directed, if that makes sense. And I'm really excited about it, because it's kind of the direction that I wanted my writing to go to anyway, with, it's just like a book of, like, just little stories about experiences that I've had in my life. Did you ever just wonder, like, these random farmhouses that you see on the side of the road that are, like, abandoned, and, like, nobody, like, did you ever just wonder, like, what happened? Like, well, they were living there and now they're gone, and there's, like, I mean, and they're like these, like, some of them like these massive farms. On the north side of Indianapolis where I live, there's just like tons of them. But anyway, so yeah, I'm very, very excited about that. And I don't know when that's going to change. It's going to change either between December 1st and January 1st. I have an idea. I'm kind of thinking about doing it on my sobriety birthday, which is December 17th. So, I don't know. I'm super excited about it. And people are like, I had mentioned that I was thinking about changing my channel name. And some people were like, yeah, if you want to change your channel name, change it. And then other people were like, don't change your channel name. I like the channel, My So-Called Healthy Life. Well, I do too. But if I'm doing story times, like, I don't feel like, I guess it would kind of go along with that. I don't know. I was thinking about changing the title name to Peterisms, because I had a blog at one point and it was called Peterisms, based on, like, things that I would, like, say repeatedly, and people would be like, oh, it's a Peterism. And so I'm thinking about maybe calling it that. I don't know. What do you guys think? I want to make this very clear. I'm not starting a new channel. I'm replacing what's already there. I think it will actually fit together better with everything that I do. So, I'm super excited about it, and I'm just going to go forward with it and be like, okay. I mean, what's the worst case scenario? I do it, and then I'm like, well, this is stupid. I mean, I got so many stories, though, to tell. Like, I'm really excited about it, because there's stories that, like, people ask me all the time. They're like, okay, can you talk about grieving and how you get over it, right? Well, that would be an example of, like, where I would, like, teach what I know based on what I've learned through my experience. So that would be a story time, okay? But, like, that doesn't fit on my main drama channel. It just doesn't. And then it's like other people are like, you know, could you talk about, I don't know, like, this or that? And I'm like, I mean, I could, but, like, and then, you know, other people are like, well, it does all fit underneath one channel. Well, for you, because you love coming to watch all of the videos that I make, which just fills me with joy, honest to God, it does, that there are people out there that are just like, I could, you know, just sit and read a phone book, which I did in a video, y'all remember, and they watch the video, but a lot of people don't, and a lot of people find me through the drama or the shits and giggles and all that kind of stuff. So if they come and I'm doing, you know, a video on there, I don't know, it's just like, I think, and I also think for the people that just really enjoy the story times, it will make a lot more sense for them to see the story times over there. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah. But I'm so excited, I just can't hide it. I know, I want you, I think Alex and I are going to Vegas in December. He was looking at flights tonight. He was like, babe, I want to treat you. And I was like, treat me? And he was like, yeah, I want to treat you. I want to go to Vegas. And I was like, oh my Lord. You know I love Vegas. Vegas, baby. I was like, all right. So he was looking at flights tonight. And then what we're going to try to do is, he has a conference out there for this for part of his work. So we're gonna try to like tie it in with that, which would be very cool. And then we're trying to figure out what we're gonna do for New Year's. We're either gonna stay here and go to this Moulin Rouge party that our friends are throwing at the pavilion in downtown Indianapolis, or I think we're gonna try to maybe go to Miami for a couple days. Just all gets very expensive after a while, you know? We have like gone to so many concerts the last Galantis, Lady Gaga. The week before that we went to something, then we went to Haunted Fest. We had a good time. We had a good time. Tonight we watched The Real Housewives of Dallas. Oh, my Lord, those honey. Woo! It's always interesting to me. I always like the housewife that nobody likes. Like, I really like Leanne on Dallas. And Alex is like, he goes, I love Carrie. I'm like, do you guys watch Dallas? Do you know what I'm talking about? So funny, Alex is watching Dynasty right now, and I'm like, and he's so into it. And I used to watch Dynasty when I was, like growing up as a kid, and so it's so funny to me that he's watching it, because like I watched the first episode and I was like, you know, I have so many shows I'm behind on. I've really dedicated the last 6 months to reading audiobooks, making videos, and writing, which has been great. I have felt completely fulfilled. To add you guys know I've watched some Netflix shows in there and stuff like that, but to like add another show to my thing, it's like I cannot do it right now. So, but I watched like the first episode. It was kind of cheesy. He's like, no, it's really good. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. I miss Dynasty. Do you guys remember Dynasty back in the day, and Falcon Crest and Dallas and all those shows? I used to watch them all back in the day, which is funny because I don't think my mom watched those shows. I think I did, but I don't think my mom did. I know my dad did, and my dad couldn't stand watching all the show. My dad never really has been a TV watcher. It was really weird. About 10 years ago, he started watching Law and Order like every night. Like he would watch the evening news, and then he would watch like an episode of Law and Order, and then he would go to bed. My dad goes to bed super early. He goes to bed at like 8 o'clock. It was funny tonight when I was watching, because you know I've talked on here about my dad being a surgeon, and I was watching that reunion of Dallas, and that Mark, Carrie's husband, is a plastic surgeon, and my dad's a plastic surgeon, and he said on there something about, they were talking about control, and he goes, well, yeah, I'm a surgeon, and almost all surgeons have control issues. And I thought, my dad doesn't have control issues. Like, my dad really doesn't. Like, I would say it on here if he did, you know. I mean, he doesn't have any control issues. He's always kind of just like, hey, you know what? You don't want to do what I have to say? Okay, it ain't that big of a deal. I think, in fact, when my dad's like at home, like he doesn't like to have any control. He doesn't want any control over anything. You all deal with it. Y'all take care of it. Oh my God, am I at 30 minutes already? Okay, let me stop this. I'll be right back. I don't think the control thing has anything to do maybe with being a doctor. I don't know, but like, you know, my dad's a different, like, it's interesting, like when I meet younger plastic surgeons, you know, my dad, like when he got into plastic surgery, like there wasn't cosmetic surgery. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, you know, my dad was in medical school in the 60s. So there wasn't, like when he picked plastics, reconstructive surgery, it was cleft palates, it was hand reconstruction. My dad's actually a hand reconstructionist. So that would be guys that get their hands caught in mills, that work in factories and things like that. And so like cosmetic surgery didn't come till later. And like it was like, you know, skin burns, you know, facial plastic surgery, not like nose jobs. That was a little bit later, but it was more like, you know, people that like had like cleft palates on kids and things like that. And so, you know, what was interesting is that when this whole cosmetic surgery thing, I think, kind of came out, is that we see like a different kind of plastic surgeon today. We see like people that got into it for that, if that makes sense. Now, yes, my dad did do cosmetic surgery. dad only does one surgery right now, and he's in more of an administrative role, and he had to pick one surgery that he would continue to stay in practice. And I think that he is doing reconstructive surgery for cancer patients that have had double mastectomies. This is who my dad is as a person, okay? My dad is such a good person. Like, everything that he has intention and motive to it behind it, you know? And I can remember, like, when I got my first client that was going through breast cancer, and I called my dad up and I said, hey, you know, I know you've done a lot of, like, you know, reconstructive surgery on women that have had mastectomies and double mastectomies. And I said, can you tell me, like, you know, kind of how to look at it? And he said, the first thing that's most important is you have to respect her as a woman. He said, when a woman loses her breast, she loses her identity a lot of times, or what she thinks her identity is. And he said, so you have to make sure that you treat her, you know, very gently as a woman and respect her as a woman. And but at the same time, always being very honest and never lying to her about what's going on. And my dad always he's just been such an amazing man. I witnessed recently a really ugly situation. You guys know I don't like the C word, and I just was raised by a man, you know, by a dad that I feel very blessed, that taught me how you talk to, you know, women and how you talk to people, and that you don't call women certain names, you don't raise your hands, and I don't know when we've stopped and when that's become okay, and you don't disrespect your mother. You know, my mom and my dad did not get along. They just didn't. They didn't like each other. But if I ever said a cross word about my mother, my dad, I mean, grit teeth. Don't you ever speak about your mother that way. You will speak about your mother that way. Not in front of me. I understand that you might be very upset with your mother, but you will not talk about her that way. You know, my dad was always very respectful of when it came to women that way, and I'm so thankful that my parents were able to parent together, even though they couldn't get along, which is so frustrating to me when I sit in a room with parents that they allow their differences and their obstacles to come in the way of raising a child together. It's so sad to me when I see that. And because I had two parents that literally couldn't stand each other, you know? And so anyway, I don't know. But I think that even though they couldn't stand each other, there was a mutual respect for each other. Does that make sense? Like my mother respected my dad, and my dad respected my mother, even though they didn't like each other. I think they respected each other. And I think that that's important, you know? And, you know, I asked my dad for a lot of marital advice because he loves Alex. You know, my dad and my stepmom adore Alex. My Aunt Kathy and Caroline and, you know, all of them, they love Alex. And my dad always thinks my dad and Alex are very much alike. He's like, it's very interesting to me from a therapeutic point of view that you and Alex ended up together. He's like, because Alex and I are very similar, and they are. My dad and Alex are very much alike, and, you know, it makes me so happy that I'm with somebody that, like, my dad and my stepmom, I was trying to think of a way to say this, but fuck it. I mean, it doesn't matter. They did not love my ex. They just didn't. I don't think they loved him for me. I think they saw things there that I wasn't willing to see or able to see at the time. And with maybe some substance use. And, you know, my dad and my stepmom they adore Alex. And they're, you know, especially my stepmom. And, well, they have different relationships with them. I'm going to try to get through this McDonald's and get a Coke because I am so thirsty, or Diet Coke, because I'm so thirsty. And I've never been to this McDonald's before. So we'll see if it's open 24 hours a day. But anyway, I actually know somebody that works at this McDonald's, and they told me that it was. I don't know. I just feel really, really blessed. And my dad and my stepmom, you know, are like, they have this strong emotional attachment to Alex, and, you know, they consider him their son. And Alex's mom is the same way. She always tells me, you know, she's like, Peter, you're one of my sons too. I don't want you to ever forget that. And just, you know, I don't know. I wish that for everybody. that you marry into families like that. Because it's not always easy, you know? And, with my ex, my dad and my stepmom, this does not look open. My dad and my stepmom were always very nice to him, very, genuinely nice to him and generous with him, and take us out to eat and buy gifts and very sweet to him, They never said anything negative. His mom, she always kind of had issues with me and unfounded. I never understood why. And, it's kind of sad. I think I look back on that a lot, and I think a lot of that affected our relationship maybe more than we knew, that, I don't know. We allowed all of that to, what's that right there? Dairy Queen? Holy shit. I love Dairy Queen. Little side note about Peter Monn, you didn't know, since she was just playing, I cannot stand Gloria Estefan, okay? I just can't stand any song by Gloria Estefan, none of them. Okay, thank you. And it was The Rhythm Is Gonna Get Ya, which is even worse. I tried to make a deposit to the bank today and the electricity was out. And then I went to the store and the security system was locked out. And now I've tried to get a Diet Coke, and am I zapping electricity everywhere I go? The rhythm is gonna get ya. The rhythm is gonna get ya. The rhythm is gonna get ya. Tonight. Oh. So, yeah. What a strange life, right? Stuff happens, and you never know when at the time that it happens. It's like... It's weird to me, it's weird to me that people say, on my videos, that I always speak about my ex with such fondness. I do, I'm not gonna lie, he and I were such good friends. I miss him at times, but I don't miss him romantically. Alex and I are very passionate together. We're very intimate. I don't really have that with my ex. We did our first year together, but then it faded. And I think that happens a lot with relationships, and I think that's part of what my fear was, with getting married, was that that happened to us at some point. And we've been pretty good about keeping it up, keeping the intimacy going. But I think that's my fear. I know you guys out there, I don't even have to, ask this to know that there are a lot of people out there that are that is totally my marriage. We do not have sex, we are friends, we share space. That is reality. And I don't want that to be my reality. And because that has been my reality in the past. Not because I'm judging it, because I think it's very easy to get there. I think it happens and you don't even realize it, and one day you're there. And I think the thing is it's like a jewelry drawer with necklaces. The untangling of it is so difficult, because then when you try to untangle it and you go, okay, let's start having sex or cuddling or being romantic towards each other. But then the necklaces are so tightly woven that it just makes it more tense to try to unwork it, if that makes sense. And so it's then the intimacy part, it feels forced and tense too. So you're how do we do this without making it seem forced? Does that make sense? If you've lived it, you know what I'm talking about. And then over time, it's just this is not savable. And I never wanted that to ever be the case with Alex and I, and thank God we're not there yet. At 10 years, which is the longest we're going on 10 years. August will be, we're at 9 years and 3 months, something like that. But, 9 years is the longest relationship I've ever been in by 4 years, so, I just hope that we can always kind of keep that fire alive, But I think that you have to be aware of it, and you have to be cognizant of it. You have to make sure that you keep on doing it, And, have that stupid "The Rhythm Is Gonna Get You" song stuck in my head. But anyway, what I was gonna say about my ex was that I'm very protective of him because I'm just very protective of him, like, as a person, and just because I decide to come on camera and share my life does not mean that he chooses that. Does that make sense? To have his world known. So there's a lot of things that I could say that I choose not to say. But the last 3 years of our relationship, I don't even really, to be honest with you, like, it was bad. It was really bad. And my first relationship with my first ex, Jared, he lives in Florida, we just kind of like woke up one day and, so this is embarrassing. We were being intimate and he like just stopped in the middle of it and walked into the kitchen, and I was like, what's going on? I was like 27 at the time, and he said, I'm not in love with you anymore and I can't be with you anymore. And I was like, what? I will never forget. Like, I felt like all of the energy in the entire room just like left. And I was like, I started throwing in my clothes, and I was like, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. I was like, I've got to get out of here. I can't. And I remember I went over to my mom's house, and I just like bawled my eyes out for like 2 hours, chain smoked cigarettes, and drank 1 cup of coffee after another, which was probably not healthy. I mean, it wasn't healthy. Let's just call it out for what it is. And so anyway, I remember I went home, and I don't really remember what happened, I guess. He didn't have the money to move out right away, and so he slept on the couch. My best friend at the time, Craig, was like, why are you letting him stay there? Excuse me. I was like, I just don't have it in me to kick him out. I don't. And so he stayed there for 3 or 4 weeks, and then I remember he carried his stuff out to his car. And it was like a Monday night, and my dog and I were sitting there, and I had my dog on a leash, my super aggressive dog that I had got with him. And it's so weird. Like, I have no emotional attachments to him anymore, none whatsoever. We're completely fine. Like, I see his pictures on Instagram, I comment on his stuff. I mean, we're friends, like, civil. I mean, you know, we're civil to each other. I don't miss the relationship. It was what it was. I look back on it, and it was a lot of fun. We traveled a lot with my dad and my stepmom to places, and we had a lot of fun. We went out and danced a lot and stuff, but it's weird that I'm kind of getting sad. I think it's not even just that. I think it's as you get older, you just kind of get sad about things in life in general, you know? But I remember we were sitting there, and he kind of turned, and I said, see ya. And I said, see ya. And the door closed, and I remember the dog ran to the window and like got up on his hind legs and looked out the window at him as he drove away. I said, it's just you and me, bud. I feel like I've had a lot of moments like that in my life when I've just been like this solitary traveler, you know? I felt that the moment that after my mom passed away, for my ex, it was the same way. I had known things had been bad for a really long time. This is actually 10 years in the next December 7th will be 10 years that we've been broken up, and I knew things were really bad. Like, things were really bad between us, and I had thought since like June that I needed to get out of the relationship. And then, you know, what's interesting is that in retrospect, we talked about it later, and he said that he knew too. But I think that we just so wished and hoped that we could turn it around, and we just couldn't, you know. And we should have been in counseling or something. So anyway, I remember I walked in, I had worked this long day. His Christmas party had been the night before for work, and I had worked, the next day was a Sunday, and I had worked like all day in my office seeing clients. And I came in, and he said, he was just sitting there with the remote like this, switching the remote. And he said, you just need to make a decision. Like, this has been going on long enough. Like, you just need to make a decision. Like, are we together or are we not? Is this not going to work? Are we over? And I remember I just was so emotionally beat down. Like, have you ever been down like that before? I couldn't take one more minute of it, you know? And I just was like, and I remember my bag, I had this like Abercrombie over the shoulder, like briefcase bag, and it just like dropped to the floor. And I just said real quiet, I said, yeah, I think it's over. I think that he was expecting me to say that, because he like went into this huge like tirade, and he like lost his shit, and I tried to touch him, and I was like, give him a hug, and I was like, we can make it work, we can go see a counselor, please don't leave, you know, because then I went in, like, then I was like, what did you just say, you know, and then I went into this like begging mode, and he was like, no, he was like, you're right, it's done, I need to leave, and he left, and he called me like 3 hours later. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and he said, I'm driving around and I don't know how to book a hotel room, and you always do that. Will you find me a hotel room, please, for the night? And I said, yeah, I'll find you a hotel room. Where are you at? I'm not willing to go through that pain again. I'm not. I'm not willing to go through that pain again at the whatever I have to do to make my marriage be at a 9 or a 10, I'm willing to do whatever the fuck that means. Because our marriage was at a 1. My relationship with my ex was at a 1. It was so devastating that we were hurting each other unintentionally, intentionally, unintentionally and intentionally. For what? So I think that when people notice that my husband rolls his eyes at me, it's a small price to pay for having his arms around me every night as we lay in bed, and want to plan surprises for me, and be the one that begs me to go to counseling to make our marriage last forever. And that's pretty cool to have a husband like that, you know? So for those people out there that want to pick apart my marriage and say how fake and how bullshitty it is, I say to you, you can fucking suck it. Because I've been in that relationship, and it sucks, and it's horrible, and I ain't there anymore. That was the relationship I had with my past 2 exes. And you know when you're there. And I get enough messages from people saying, I'm in a horrible relationship, I don't know how to get out. What is your advice to me? I wake up every day so blessed for my husband, you know? And so blessed for our little family of me and Pee-Pee and him and Boo and Tucker, and I put Pee-Pee above Alex, you know, and his family and my family, and I just feel so blessed for all of it, you know? And that the one thing that I get asked a lot is, how do you get through a breakup? Well, I didn't think I would ever be able to get through a breakup. I never did. And if you had told me that day that my ex called me and said, find me a hotel room because I don't know how to do that, I would have said to you, I don't think I'm gonna make it through this. I don't see myself making it through this. I don't know how. If you had shown me a picture of 10 years later, being excited, planning trips with my husband. I wouldn't have believed it. And there is beauty and there is peace on the other side, but you have to put one foot in front of the other and you will make it through. And that's what I did. And this is where I'm at. And I don't regret one bit of it. I love you guys. I'll talk to you later.